there are hundreds of millions of small businesses in the world. And one of the things I think is really important is basically making it so with a relatively small amount of work, a business can basically, a few taps, stand up an AI agent for themselves that can do customer support, sales, communicate with all their people, all their customers. I think that every business in the future, just like they have an email address and a website and a social media presence today, I think every business is going to have an AI agent that their customers can talk to in the future.
At this point, AI agents are everywhere. If you're a business owner, you've probably heard of agentic frameworks and AI agents, and you've probably been told that you need to implement them into your business to improve your efficiency and profitability. And if you're looking to start a business, you've probably been told that you need to sell AI agents and agentic frameworks to businesses to improve their profitability and efficiency. But you probably haven't been told exactly what agentic frameworks and AI agents are and exactly how they really drive revenue for businesses. So in this video, I'm going to break down my perspective as somebody who runs an AI agent development agency and also uses AI agents across several other businesses, including a mobile app, a rental business, and obviously this agency. In this video, I'm going to be going over a Notion document that I prepared. If you want access to this document, it's going to be in a free Skool community. And if you want to see like exactly how I go about building these AI agent workflows with like specific tools like Hermes Agent and OpenClaw, and how I even deploy these AI agents to a server where they can run 24/7, that's in the paid Skool community. That will also be in the description. And if you just want somebody to set up everything for you to like audit your business, figure out where AI can work for you, then schedule a free consultation. That will also be in the description. But let's go ahead and get into the actual document. So once again, my agency is called Integral Agents, and we design and deploy agents for businesses. So in order to start at the basics, you need to understand what AI agents actually are. So at this point, I'm assuming you know what AI is on some level. You give it text at a high level, that text gets shipped off to a data center. They run a bunch of equations and they output the text to best match the text that you inputted. So if you ask the question, you'll receive the best answer to that question. And this is basic AI. Now, when we take that a step further, we get a reasoning model, which is basically all of the AI out today is reasoning models. So you input some text, instead of just shipping back an answer, now the AI kind of considers that text. It is going to branch out to other queries that it might need to answer before it can answer your original query. It might go along, it might create different potential pathways to go about reaching the answer, and it's going to generate a lot more text and then go through all of that text and then consolidate the best possible answer. So that's reasoning. That's where it's kind of thinking, as some people will describe it, by generating more outputs based on a single output in order to give you the best possible answer. Now, AI agents are a layer on top of that. So you have a model that has reasoning, that's able to think in steps. Now, when you have an agent, now that reasoning model has extra context and memory wrapped around it, that allows it to better plan out the steps. And now it has tools so it can actually execute on the steps that it's creating. And it can see a whole process out from start to finish just by being given one prompt. So this is really the power of an AI agent. It has significantly more capabilities. It has agency. It has the ability to do things, to act, to perform actions, and it also can be running 24/7. So you can only just send you can ask one question at a time on ChatGPT or to Claude Opus, just going on the websites that these large labs give you. But when you have an AI agent, You can have it sitting on a server, just dedicated to only working for you, to doing tasks at scheduled times. You can schedule it to run hourly. You can just schedule it. You can have it work on tasks for hours at a time if necessary. You have complete control. That's what AI agents give you. And it also depends on the framework. There are agentic frameworks that still aren't 24/7, and we'll get into that later. But at the highest level, you have, when you set up an AI agent correctly, you have basically a 24/7 employee who has complete context on your business and has the ability to basically do anything that can be performed online. So it's incredibly powerful. So how do you actually use AI agents in a business context to improve profitability, to make more money, to be more efficient? In order to do this, you need to think in systems and processes. So this is typically a buzzword that people just throw out. Oh, I have systems and processes in my business. But when I say you need to think about things in terms of systems and processes, you need to break all functionalities that are performed in your business into actionable steps, to defined steps that you can clearly articulate and measure success and failure in these granular steps. So take a SDR, take a sales development representative. Their job is to reach out to potential clients and basically schedule them for meetings. So in order to do this, they have to perform several different roles. The first role would be, or the first step would be, searching for these potential clients. So whether that's doing searches on Crunchbase or LinkedIn Sales Navigator, they need to perform some type of search that will return companies that could potentially be interested in services. From there, they'll need to take these companies and find the decision makers, the people who can actually green light the decision to go with the company's services for a particular project. So this might be the CEO, it might be the CMO, it might be the CTO, or it might be somebody lower, it might be a manager or a director. But they have to find these people, typically also on LinkedIn Sales Navigator. And after they've found these decision makers, they need to create messages that will actually get responses from these decision makers. So they need to take into account what the decision maker is interested in, where their company is at, and craft a message that will best get a response by appealing to the interests of the decision maker. And then lastly, they need to message this decision maker, whether that's through LinkedIn DMs, whether that's through email, or whether that's through cold calling. They need some type of method of communication. And then from there, they need to converse with this person and get them booked for a calendar call. So when you break down functionalities, like an employee's functionalities, into a list of steps, now you have something that you can transfer to an AI agent, and you can have the agent do this instead of an actual person. So that's how to think about actually going about building the AI agents that you need. Now, if that sounded a little complex and you want some help, or you want somebody else to do it, that's what we're here for. If you're on this document, you can just click this link and book an AI audit, or we'll kind of walk through this with you and kind of diagnose what your business could use. If you're on YouTube, there'll also be a link in the description. So potential use cases. I just walked over kind of a high level overview of how to think about building your AI agent workflows from first principles in your own business. But you just want some common use cases that kind of are pretty interchangeable across different types of businesses. These are some very common use cases. One, responding to customers. This is very simple. You give the AI agent context and access to a phone number or an email, and basically just let it use that context to answer all queries the way you would, given that you have the same context. So now you have, if this is on a server, if you have the agent running on a 24/7 server, now you have 24/7 customer support, which will definitely improve your service. Next, creating ads. With the new updates with Andromeda, Facebook ads require a lot of creative. You have to test a lot of creative, so you have to generate a lot of creative. So if you can give AI context as far as ads that have worked in the past, information about your brand, and give it basically an API key to a model like Gemini that can be used to generate images, now you have something that can continuously create creatives for your brand, so that you can continuously test hundreds of different pieces of creative a week or even a month. Performing outreach, like we just talked about with a sales development rep, you can have that AI agent basically building lists, finding decision makers, writing personalized messages, and then conducting outreach. And then scheduling and reminders. If you run a business like a med spa, or I don't know, a dental practice, something like that, something where you have people coming in for appointments and they need reminders before appointments, and they might need follow-ups after appointments. This like front desk functionalities, this is something that an AI agent can handle. You just connect it to your CRM and you just let it work. You give it the instructions and let it cook. So where do you actually start? We've talked about AI agents. We've talked about how powerful they are, but how do you actually get started with AI agents? So there's a bunch of different frameworks. So AI agent, like we mentioned, it's the tools and the context around the LLM. The LLM is the brain. So your LLM could be anything. It could be OpenAI's GPT 5.6. It could be Claude's Fable. It could be Google's Gemini, or it could be an open source Chinese model. It could be DeepSeek or GLM 5.2. But the LLM is the brain. The context and the tools wrapped around that LLM are what create the agent. So you have frontier labs like Claude who have created agents to go around their models. So with something like Claude Code and Claude Cowork, you have an agent that can think and plan using like Claude models like Fable or Opus 4.8, and then it can perform tasks. But in this case, you're limited to only using Claude models and paying Claude prices. And also, you can't really put this on a server and have it running 24/7. Like, you have to use it through the Claude application, the Claude desktop application. And there are limits on how many scheduled tasks you can set. Like, you can schedule tasks, but there's limits. And after you go above certain limits, you have to pay more. And you just don't have a lot of freedom. But it's a very good product. Like, it's very, very responsive. It can do a lot. These are very powerful tools, Claude Code and Claude Cowork. Now, a layer down, you have independent, basically open software that you can use with any LLM. So when you use something like Hermes Agent or OpenClaw, you download the software and you're free to switch out whichever model you want to use. So if you want to use GPT 5.6, you can do that. But if you want to use a free NVIDIA model, you can do that. And these because this software, Hermes Agent and OpenClaw, is free. If you deploy it on a server for free, which I teach in my paid community, if you deploy it on a server for free, then you could potentially have an AI agent running. If it has a free model, you could have an AI agent running 24/7 with no actual cost, which is incredibly powerful. Now, using a free LLM, you'll have limited results. Like, you won't have as good results as if you used a paid one. But just because you have to use a paid one doesn't mean you have to use the most expensive paid ones. Like, you can use a model like Minimax, which is 25 times cheaper than Claude Opus 4.8, and gets very similar results as far as just running simple agent tasks. So these open source models, Hermes Agent, these open source softwares combined with open source models create a very very manageable and very affordable AI agent workflow. And they're extremely powerful tools. But you have the option to use any of these. There are also plenty of other agentic frameworks that you can also get results with. Now, we've talked about all the upside, all the potential, but AI agents do come with a safety risk. So by having these AI systems which have access to tools and can perform real tasks on the internet, you're running the risk of them being basically used by malicious actors to do things that you don't want them to do. So if you have an AI agent that's doing research and searching the internet, it can run across potentially malicious instructions that tell it to give up its API keys or something like that to a malicious actor that can use them, which is something that you don't want to happen. So you want to make sure that you have everything like secured. So definitely put your AI agents in their own isolated infrastructures. Do not have them on your primary computer, which has access to like credit card secrets or just confidential files, things that you wouldn't want leaked on the internet. Make sure that you're isolating your agents and they have their own environment. And also make sure that you're not giving them more permissions than they need. You're going to be giving your AI agents access to API keys. This is how they access tools, but only give them access to the tools that they actually need, because the more API keys and the more functionality you give it, that's the more risk that you're exposing yourself to if that AI agent is potentially prompt injected and it reads some malicious instructions and actually ends up giving up those credentials. So make sure that you only give it what it needs, and you give it access to like API keys that have limits on them, like they have spending limits, so that a malicious actor can't just get access to a API key and just run up a huge bill because your AI agent wasn't secure. And lastly, if you're having the AI agent do something with real stakes, make sure that you have a human in the loop. AI agents, by nature, the way AI works is probability. So it's never 100% standardized. You can have a very strict prompt that gets a very standardized result and have it dialed in to the point where it doesn't vary more than you're comfortable with. But until you get it to that point, make sure if it's something that's really important in your business, make sure that you have a human in the loop that's checking and making sure that AI is doing what it's supposed to do. So always consider safety when working with AI agents. So that is basically an overview of how you would get started with AI for your business. Once again, if you want help doing it, if you want somebody to do it for your business, book an audit below. If you're interested in learning more about actually implementing these processes, subscribe to the channel, join the Skool communities for more information, and just stay tuned.